What is going on? I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to Vape with a Viking. So today what I got for you is a nice new little combo, but mostly new mod straight from Steamcrave. Today we're going to talk about the Hadron Plus from Steamcrave. So again, thank you Steamcrave for sending me this for the purposes of this review. It's not going to change my opinions. I do like Steamcrave, so hey. But it's kind of a nice little refresh or revisit to the Romomizer Plus RTA. I haven't used it in a bit. You guys know me. As soon as I got the Ragnar, it's kind of game over. So I really hadn't revisited or used it in a while. This is the combo set, so it does come with the mod and plus V2. So I decided to go and throw it together, as you saw in the dive down, and use it together. Plus, it's a little smaller to be using the Ragnar on there. But yeah, before we get into the ins and outs and why is this better than the Lipo Pro version and all that, I'm going to get into a couple things real quick. Usually go over some vape advocacy. You guys know what to do with that. Go on to Twitter, support the vape advocate generals, Bogan, Grim Green, Matt from Suck My Mod, Phil, Dimitri, all of those guys. Definitely check them out, see what they're doing to help fight for all of our rights to vape. And of course, ADHD awareness, please, please, please. Mental health in general, but I'm more tailored to ADHD because I am a sufferer of the disorder, and so is my child. So definitely go check out Jessica Maccabee's YouTube, which is How Do ADHD. She's also on Twitter, I'm pretty sure Instagram, and of course Facebook. Really, really good information. She has a lot of connections with doctors that are specializing in the disorder. So definitely if you or a loved one has the disorder, check some stuff out. She does really good stuff that not only help you if you have the disorder, but if you have a loved one, how to help them with the disorder. But also, hopefully I get this review out before the polls are closed this year. Wow. I don't know how it happened, but awesome news. Isig Click actually has me as a international reviewer of the year. So please, the polls close like I think on the 28th of November. Go in there, support me, support Darkstar. Come on, I all know Darkstar is great. And brick and mortar over in the UK, there are some really good people. Thanet, it's Thanet. Vapeco, really great brick and mortar shop. Come on, let's give them a run. Let's do this. Come on, let's do it. Anyway, so back to what we were hopefully coming here to see. A little new mod combo action here. So I'm ready. You ready? Yeah, we're ready. Just gonna drop the hammer on the Hadron Plus. So what I got for you today is the Hadron Plus combo by Steamcrave. So again, of course, shout out to Steamcrave sending this to me for the purposes of review. So let's kind of go what's all in there. So you, of course, you got the front here, side, you'll always have Steamcrave there. And then on this side, you'll see color configuration, so gunmetal, gray, black. But then they also show you, was it powered by the DNA or just their Steamcrave 220 chipset, which was, of course, in the Hadron 220, what I use for a Squonk mod, essentially. And, of course, more Steamcrave stuff there. Little item number there. And then on the back, some more item numbers there. UPC, scratch authenticity, stuff like that. Keep out of reach of children and minors. Yes. So let's get in the box. All right, so in the box, tons and tons and tons of stuff. So of course you have the mod itself. You're going to have your Aromomizer Lite plus V2. You're actually going to have the plus the Ragnar mesh deck kit, which if you've seen my reviews on those, you'll know what that contains. Dry tool, spare glass, your little metal section here that is for the plus V2, which is really highly recommended. It's an extension, but it gives you also more protection from glass breaking. All right, and what these guys are, if you haven't seen my plus V2 review, definitely check that out. But what these guys are these are chimney reducers. It actually helped quite a bit, in my opinion, for when you use the mesh deck, or if you just have a smaller build in there and you kind of need to condense it a bit more. So we won't go over a ton of the RTA itself, mainly because I do have a separate review out there. But we will check out one thing, because I didn't have the greatest video quality when I did the review to begin with. I will basically show you some coil placements here. I did have used this, cleaned it back up real quick, and took the cotton out and everything. So, but what I'll show you is I used some Twisted Timmy's coils in there, and kind of just show you placement. Cut it right at 5mm. And then you basically just kind of have, you know, a little gap in between, pretty much just straight up, very similar to the Ragnar, how I do that, except for the Ragnar is a little taller because it does have specific airflow for under and side airflow. This one does not. So I know some people put their coils, slam them down to the deck. I don't, mainly so I can get a little bit of undercoil, even though this isn't the airflow for that per se. But if you kind of take a look here, let's move the box. The easiest way for me to usually line these up is I will take, and if you can't see straight through the deck while it's in there, is just kind of pre-look at it so you know that this is going to be basically be on there like that. And if you could see, if you kind of almost use your imagination, if you look, this airflow is going to be pretty much right in the center towards the bottom also of those coils. So that should do really, really well on there. But so yeah, 5mm, pretty much straight up, maybe pulled in a little bit, but yeah, just a little bit of gap underneath. That way this bottom row mainly will hit underneath, and then the mid and top row is going to come off to the sides of it. All right, then in the bottom of the box, you're going to get a plethora of things. You're going to get your lace mesh cotton from Steamcrave. This is for the mesh specifically. It's a bigger diameter. You're going to get a couple battery wraps. I believe, if I remember right, on their website it said for 18650s, they will fit a 21700, and they are very, very thick wraps. So very, very thick guys there. Your USB cable for, they say, charging or upgrading your firmware, or, you know, basically getting into Evolve, because it is a DNA chip. Again, I suggest anything that has a removable battery, except for, you know, like a LiPo, take them out, charge them on an external charger. Use this for the software only, please. Now, a DNA is a really good chip, so I'm less inclined to say that don't ever charge your batteries on it, but I would try to just put them on external, make it better. Of course, you get your Steamcrave sticker, you get your Hadron Plus manual, you also get your Aromomizer Plus V2 manual, and then of course the O-rings and deck screws and all the other accessories for the RTA itself. So, all right, let's get to the device. All right, so here's the device itself. When you open this guy up, you'll see something a little different here. One, here's your 18650 adapters. But two, thought this was kind of neat to actually put some literature essentially on the door itself. So it's going to give you some cautionary stuff, their social media logo, all that kind of good stuff. That was kind of interesting. Hadn't seen that before. Of course, on the inside you got your magnets, all your screws for mounting everything, and then you do have your battery placements in there. One thing I wish they would have done is, since this is so glossy, it's even with the camera setup and everything, makes it even worse. You can't really see where the plus and minuses are unless you catch the light just right. But even in person, it can be kind of difficult due to your lighting. So just like a highlight of either like white or red or something to just denote, that would have been made it so just a little extra bit of effort essentially to make sure it's really easy to see so you don't accidentally change your battery positions. But since it is a DNA chip, it will be protected. And I know there will be some people that say, where's the ribbon to easy access for the battery removal? These have a very, very springy and a lot of give to these positions here, so it actually makes it pretty easy. I actually throw some batteries in. I use Samsung 40Ts in all of my regulated devices because I want the mAh as much as possible to be up there. So we got positive here. The other positive is going to be here. They popped in really well, and then all you got to do is press them down. They actually come out really easy as well. And of course, the magnets on this are extremely catchy. Those things, you might lose a finger in there. Who knows? But DNA chip, we're not going to go over how to use those just because it's DNAs that take forever and a day. So a little Steamcrave on the outside there. And as usual, fire button, your select button up and down, and the USB for the interface for the Evolve. Now, probably one thing that most everybody will want to know is, what will this fit up to? And here's what it looks like, of course, with the Plus V2 on there. Pretty much to the edges, and very nice matching on gunmetal versus gunmetal. A couple other devices you'll be able to see here. I'm going to throw an Asgard 30 on there because that, in my opinion, is the max you'll want to throw on there. And main reason why, it pretty much goes right to the edge of where the mod and the door meets. You don't want to do really any overhang, because then you can have a issue of trying to pull the door away from it. So I'd definitely say 30 millimeter is where you want to be at max, and of course anything under that as well. If you wanted to, you got about a millimeter or two. So if you had one of those kind of odd 32 millimeters out there, or even try to put the beauty ring on an Asgard 30, it would fit. It's just going to basically, in my opinion, overhang two or maybe even just a touch past the door, and I wouldn't do that at all. And then here's like the QP Designs M25. So that's what a 25 millimeter RTA at least will look like on there, which I thought was really neat. Of course, the lighting's making it a little darker than it should be, but in person, the QP gunmetal and the Steamcrave gunmetal, really good looking together. Main difference between Steamcrave's gunmetal in the tank and QP is a little bit darker, a little more richer, more like metallic than more the matte that Steamcrave has on there. So yeah, let's go back up top. I will give you, of course, pros, cons, where to find it, how much, all that kind of good stuff. All right, so back up top with the Hadron Plus combo here. First off, huge shout out to Twisted Timmy's Coils, builder here in Texas that I've been buying plethoras of coils from and enjoying them so well. And a lot of you be like, okay, is this a new coil maker for the channel and that's why you're promoting? No, I buy them. I'm just like you. Doesn't matter. Definitely consistently get my business, especially these little MTL aliens for like burrow bridge devices. Woohoo! Changed my mind completely about bridge devices. But this isn't a bridge device, so let's get back to that. So a little bit of specs out of the way. Of course, I don't usually get into a lot of the technical data just because it's technical data. You either like it or you don't. But one thing I did want to point this out, if you are a very low builder user, since this is, of course, a DNA 250C, it only goes to the 0.1 ohm resistance. So like 0.1 to 3 ohm resistance. So definitely keep that in mind. But they do have it in black, gunmetal, and of course, silver. This is the gunmetal matchiness here. And then the mod is going to cost you right around 179, like 180 bucks, or the combo is like 230. So, and that's from Steamcrave Direct. I'm not sure. I didn't see it right away as I was recording this, at least, if any of our online shops have them in stock, but they'll get them soon. Pros and cons. So tons of pros. I've really liked a lot of their, well, not a lot of them. So far, all of the Hadron line of mods. Hadron Pro with the lipo, really good. Like I said, the only thing I didn't like about that per se was just being very smooth and being very heavy. It could tend to slip out of the hand. And then of course the original Hadron, a lot of people didn't like that because it's big, it was bulky, used kind of almost a Yeehaw style type of chipset. I still liked it, still use it, still put the backpack on it, make it even bigger, and use that as a all-day squonker. Now this one, on the other hand, I was like, I'd rather have the lipo instead of dual 21700 because, I mean, come on. But I was very pleasantly surprised with it. So since this is the aluminum alloy, it is a lot lighter, in my opinion, than some of the other ones, like especially the first Hadron, which was a zinc alloy. It was pretty bulky. And dual 21700 is actually lighter in a lipo. Don't know why I thought it would be the same, but it is definitely a whole lot lighter. It is definitely a whole lot smaller. Like I showed you in Dive Down, kind of paired side by side. It's a good probably 30 some odd percent smaller. And because of that, even with a bigger tank, I have the extension. The tank itself's not bigger, but the juice capacity and all that is some weight. It's not like slipping like the Pro was. It's just a lot lighter. So dual 21700, DNA 250, so Pro. Of course, looks good, clean, very minimalistic. So yeah, lots and lots of pros on it. The only real con I would give it is the fact that those terminal spots, the plus and the negative, your battery direction, it is kind of hard to see those. Like I said, even with good lighting and all that, if you get too much lighting, it's so glossy you can't really see them, but eventually you're going to know which one goes where. But all they really had to do was just put just a tiny bit of, I guess, forethought to either put it on the door or even highlight, because they're engraved with like a red or a white or something that stood out So it's real easy to see, but it is a DNA. So it does have the reverse polarity protection. So if you pop them in, it's not going to like damage the chip or accidentally, fire on you or anything like that. It's safe essentially. But it is definitely something for peace of mind. I would have loved something that's just very highly visible to see. And if it was a matte finish in there, it'd probably be even better. But since it's so glossy, it's kind of hard to see. But I'm also blind. So that might be just a my thing. So that's really the only con I have. But pros, it's still an affordable device for being 250C DNA chip. Some people might not like the price, but you're going to be paying a premium price for a DNA chip, especially there for a bit. They were really hard to get a hold of. One subjective con for some of you out there, it doesn't hold like the Ragnar, so it doesn't hold an ultra big tank. Like I said, 30 millimeter is probably the max I would go. I like being able to just pull off the door real quick and easy instead of having to make sure I kind of pull it out first and then kind of slide it down, because you're going to be under the atomizer. So, but this one being, I believe, 26, you see it's fairly to the edges, but it's not overlapping. Then of course, I revisit on the Aromomizer Plus is definitely a good RTA. I've been using the heck out of it. I'm running 95 watts on a 0.12, some Twisted Timmy's, doing just the small airflow, especially because a lot more chimney and all that is help with some kind of more. I have it set up more for restricted direct lung, not super restricted, but enough that you can get a lot of flavor out of it. So let's check this out. Yeah, and of course, since I'm testing it, you know what it's filled with: Lobotomy by Darkstar. I have the bottle on me, but you know what it looks like. If you've seen any of my content, you know what Lobotomy looks like. But doing really well. I will say the Ragnar, in my opinion, is a better flavorful RTA than the Aromomizer Plus, but it's still a good RTA. So yeah, altogether, like I said, lots and lots of pros, and really only one con. And you could either go in there and highlight it yourself, or if it's like your go-to mod, you will know like clockwork which way they go. So, and just in case, when you get this, you really can't see it, even though this is kind of a goofy way to show it, but you got positive and positive. So buttons and everything, positive down towards the front, positive up towards the back. Don't know if that helps, but I tried. So, but yeah, that is all I got today for the Hadron Plus combo, new mod, revisited RTA. So I want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking. And I'll check you later.